So let's get into some of these other adventures. I was telling you we were talking a little bit on the pre-call here. Our 20th anniversary, wedding anniversary is this year. I turned 50 along with my wife this year. We were planning this big trip to Iceland where we were going to do some really fun adventures. That is probably on hold for this year. We will see. But I saw that you did this epic, is it 300 miles?
I think it's just short of. It's over 200 at least.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Where how many successive marathons basically were you guys running?
Nine in a row. Yeah.
9 in a row.
Yeah.
Holy.
I mean, so basically we ran across Iceland.
Yeah.
We were the first people to run from the north to the south of Iceland across the center. The center is brutal.
Yeah.
But we took a bunch. Really, I'd had this idea that I wanted to do it, and I've done like all those adventures we talked about before. I'd predominantly done on my own, and when you do these things on your own, no one really understands what you went through. No matter how much detail you try and burden them with, they're definitely switching off after like 5 minutes. If you're not telling them about the maggots in your beard or the gun that was pointed at your head, like on my cycle to India, they're starting to get a bit bored.
Yeah.
And I was like, adventures I do now, I want to do them with people, and I want to do them as part of a kind of community or a tribe. So I just put it out on my social media, said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to run across Iceland. Who wants to come with me? And 20 people said yes.
That's awesome.
I think like maximum of a third had ever run over a half marathon, and we were asking them to run all these marathons and an ultra, a couple of ultras as well along the way. So 9 marathons or ultras in a row, and it's one of those examples of the beauty of humanity, and everyone makes it across. There was a guy who was I think he was 58 when he crossed the finish line, and he had been a heavy drinker and smoker until quite recently, and he'd found running and it changed his life. And then he's like, he'd written to me and said, Dan, do you think I can actually do this? And I was like, Brian, we're doing this. And there's at the end of we had a video guy came out, and he made a little kind of documentary film about the crossing, and he just like the last scene is him just going, I ran across Iceland.
Man.
I ran across Iceland like this. He's like, it's so great. And the people that took part, and this is what we are kind of referring to earlier on, is they've come back and they're reevaluating their life. They're reevaluating the barriers, the ceilings they put on their own life. And but yes, it's Iceland. I've harped on about our trip, but I mean, whatever happens, whether it's this year or next year, when you go to Iceland, you are going to have an absolute ball, because it's an athlete's playground, but it's beautiful for people who aren't that as well. It's the waterfalls, the jagged rock formations, the hot pools that you just kind of dip into at the end of the day. There's nothing like, you just kind of wander in and then you're in there, and it's so natural, beautiful views from there. There's lakes with ice. I think it is in America. You get a bit of this anyway. You get in some of the more north reaches, but these like icebergs floating past you and stuff like this. And
Iceland seems like a one of a kind type of place. I've never seen anywhere. I watched your video. I watched a couple of months ago Emily Batty, who rides for, I think she rides for Canyon now. She was riding for Trek, but she just did, I think it was she, her husband, and another guy, other guys did a ride across Iceland. And it was just, I mean, oh man, my heart was breaking as I was watching it, thinking, I got to get over there. We've got to get over there.
It's going to happen. Don't you worry.
For sure. How did logistics work with 20 people where, obviously strong runners, weak runners, things like that? Like, were you sort of regrouping at different portions throughout the day, or how did you guys manage that?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing was kind of broken down into basically 10 kilometers or so before breakfast, and you have a bit of a snack, 10 kilometers breakfast.
Okay.
Allow your breakfast to go down, 10 kilometers lunch. Allow your breakfast to go down, allow your lunch to go down, and then 10 kilometers, that kind of thing. So there's always food at the basically it was food. We were just like always on the hunt for food, and at those points we just kind of regrouped, and everyone knew it was no one was signing up to bang out these miles as fast
Yeah.
as they possibly could. They were
Okay.
just doing it as it was very, very clear that we're going to go. Of course, we're going to break into different groups because running at different paces can not be good for your body at certain times. And
Yeah.
but we had we probably had 3 groups amongst it. Sometimes people would just say they're in this beautiful scenery and they just wanted a moment on their own, and they might go off and
Yeah.
enjoy it for themselves and have their moments. And these are just friends of mine that were just coming along, and the kind of long documentary, the 30-minute documentary that was made, is like people were talking about all sorts of different things. And again, you're using these experiences, these adventures, to deal with the things that are going on within, or
Yeah.
have gone on within in the past. And life's so busy, sometimes you don't get a chance to deal with them, do you? And you're out there in the middle of Iceland with just like nothing but this silver sand for miles in every single direction. There's not a lot to take your mind off what's going on inside. And as the exterior gets quieter, you kind of start hearing what the internal is going on. And I think it's like, I don't know, I kind of think it's beautiful kind of therapy for whatever it is you're needing.
Yeah, I was talking to I don't remember who the heck I was talking to, an ultra runner, I think. Anyway, but that was one of the things that I was talking to him about, was like there's once you start doing these types of efforts and adventures, and when you're running solo or with a group for 2 hours, 5 hours, what beyond, like it's impossible to sort of go back to a normal life in a way, like it just it's kind of like your frame of reference when you're running, where the first time you run a mile, you look at that thing 5 miles away or 10 miles away and you think like, I could never do that. That's crazy. But then you run that distance and that thing keeps getting pushed. And then you think about like running a mile is like, well, it's not even worth it. Or it's like a little shakeout when I've got an injury. But when you start putting in these big efforts and you're in your head and you start to think about, every step, and I don't know, you coax your way through this thing. It's like, I don't know, normal life does change for you. Like, what is normal? What is achievable? What is not achievable? Those type, like once you start breaking down barriers in your life, I guess is what I'm saying, like physical and mental. You can never look at the world the same again, and that's a good thing,
Yeah. I think there's 2 sides to it, really. Sometimes I kind of think about your average person is living in a box, really. Like it's your limit. They're the limits that you're putting on yourself of what you're capable of, all that sort of stuff. And climbing out of that box, it's a little bit lonely. There's a lot more people inside the box than there are outside it, and you're kind of outside, and there's definitely times in my life where I've been like, I would just love to be content with doing a 9 to 5 job, like become an accountant, have the money to do everything I want to do, and just not have to be creative and doing things and all that sort of stuff. But there's no way you can't climb back in. That's impossible. As soon as that door shuts, you're outside for good, I think, personally.
God, you said that 10 times better than I could have. That was a perfect articulation of what I was trying to go for. That was great.
Thanks.
No,
yeah, but I mean, 99% of the time out there, it's just it's amazing, and it's cool.
Yeah. Are you doing another one that I see? Are you going back to Iceland?
Yeah. I just loved it. It's so incredible, and to see the change in people that are getting involved, that was just addictive. And so we were supposed to go, obviously, this last year, 2020 again. Okay. We did it in 2019, and we were supposed to do it in 2020, and got a few more people signed up, but we're going to go in 2021.
Okay.
COVID hitting in August, and so yeah, I mean we're very open. We have we got support vehicles, we've got a whole support team all around there and everything, and we're quite open to other people getting involved. And
same route.
It's so nice. Same route, yeah. Just little changes here and there that we've kind of learned, things that are going to benefit us guys and the team, and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, Northern Lights at night. beautiful landscapes. Yeah, it's really, really cool. But we're also thinking we're of other running adventures that we might do. And there's a plateau up in the stands in Tajikistan. It borders Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan.
Okay.
And there's a beautiful route there that we're thinking of going and running as well. Like running from the Kyrgyz border to the Afghan border. And so yeah, we're kind of, it's just things that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
This I've worked very hard for these, for the past like 10, 12, 15 years to be in a position I'm in now.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like all those little dreams you had as a child or as you were growing up, be like, oh, let's do that, and bring a whole load of other people who can enjoy it. And so that's become life now, whether that's organizing big kind of global events, or whether it's these kind of small, more niche boutique type of runs over kind of countries you've never even heard of, which is super cool.
Yeah, I have to assume that, like, whether it's the last baton handoff, or the the guy that you were saying when he finished Iceland, he's like, I ran across Iceland. I've got to assume that those experiences are, one, addictive, and two, is what keeps that, like, okay, now we have to find the next adventure. Like, I need my fix of these types of emotional experiences.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's that dopamine hit that you get from that is, like after someone's gone on a week-long festival of wildness, you kind of have these kind of come downs afterwards when it's all like on December the 10th this past year, 2020, we organized One Run Global, which was the first ever truly global running event. We had people from every single country: North Korea, Sudan, Afghanistan, UK, America, 195 different countries in the world. And I, that's partly why today, even still, I'm just like, oh, we worked so hard on that, and then it suddenly ends, and you're like, oh, what am I supposed to be doing with my life now? Because there's time to think.